am so happy you're here. I'm Dr. Bramonti, the non-traditional veterinarian. How about episode one, video one? Let's just get right into it. I have my notes here because I want to be so intentional about all my topics, but especially this topic, because this topic be hot. Grain-free diets. Have you heard of it? Have you gotten in a conversation about it before? Have you talked to your veterinarian about it before? Has your neighbor told you about it? Has a pet store employee told you about it? It is quite the topic these days. And so we're going to go over myths in it, what's true, what's not, how it got started. So let's dive into it. Okay. So grain-free diets were marketed as premium diets back in like the 2010s era. For a little backstory, I graduated vet school in 2014. And I feel like shortly after graduation, I started hearing about grain-free, grain-free, grain-free. And I think there's a few reasons why. And it blew up, right? It got really big. It's still big. I can't tell you how many pet owners I see. And so if this is the first time we're connecting and seeing each other, as of right now, I'm a relief travel veterinarian. I've been doing it for 5 years. I love it. And what that means is I go into different hospitals and I fill in for different reasons as a veterinarian. Think of it as kind of like a travel nurse as a veterinarian. And so for staff shortages, single doctor practices who need a day off for vacation, multi-doctor practices where they need extra support staff as a veterinarian. And so I've talked to a lot of pet owners. And I'm the veterinarian who's always going to ask, hey, what are you feeding your dog? Hey, what are you feeding your cat? And I can't tell you how often I met with joy in the eyes. I don't know, but it's grain-free. Like they're so happy. And I'm like, oh, okay. Tell me more about it because just because it's grain-free doesn't mean it's good. And so I have my notes here because I don't want to go off on any tangents and I really want to dive into what you need to know about it. And the truth about grain-free diets is that you were never the target. Your emotions were. That's the truth. And so a quick history is that these grain-free diets, like I said, came around the 2010s, mainly in like boutique stores. Some of these boutique brands were the first ones. And then I do think that big brands like Purina, Science Diet, etc., they got they were following the marketing. They were following the industry. And so they're like, we want a piece of the pie. And I think that's also why that happened. I feel like they were later to the game, but they realized they wanted a piece of the pie. And so they started making this premium option. And I say premium with quotes because premium means different things to different people. And a lot of people think that price equates to quality with dog food. And I'm going to tell you, buckle up because that is not the truth at all. And so it was not it was consumer driven in the sense that it wasn't necessarily based on science. It came from the human health side of gluten-free. Paleo was really big. I did paleo in vet school for a little bit. I saw great success with it. I did it from a health perspective. Anti-carb, like, oh my God, carbs are bad, carbs are bad. And so the pet industry kind of followed the human industry with this. And then you saw boutique brands, like I mentioned, Blue Buffalo, Akana, Origin. I don't even know what else to think of, that they were the leaders with this grain free. And they were saying that grains were cheap fillers and they were inherently bad. And here's the thing is that there's different types of grains. And so they were just labeling all grains. And I'm going to get into grains and carbs. I'm definitely going to hit on that here. But they got demonized and because of the human sides, right? The human trends. And it to be honest with you, a vet hasn't told you the grains are evil. It's the marketers that have been. They're riding on these coattails of this gluten-free wave. Now, do I think that dogs need all grains and carbs? No, and I'll get into that. But we stopped asking if dogs actually needed it and just started following the marketing. I just assumed it was better. We assumed with these dog foods with these expensive price tags on it, well, it's got to be premium because they're charging this and they're new to this and the lower quality, lower price dog foods aren't doing it. So clearly it has to be good. And there you go, my friends, that's marketing. And they were trying to say that grain-free equaled better, and that's just not true. Better is better. And so here's the kicker, though, is that these grain-free diets, when you're taking out an ingredient, something has to be put in place. And no one's been like, what are we putting in place? That only became a topic when we started seeing cases of heart issues with dog, DCM, dilated cardiomyopathy. Maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you had a dog with it. I hope that you've not lost a dog to it. And so what it is essentially a stretching of the heart muscle. And it is a form of heart failure where that heart almost becomes like a basketball. It is round and it can't contract like it needs to because it is so dilated. And so it is a form of heart failure. And so some of these dogs were able to have that heart failure reversed if it was caught and linked to diet. Some of them were not. And we were seeing a rise in breeds that typically didn't have DCM. And that's what started to clue in some really smart veterinarians, be like, what's going on here? And then we found the link. But not every case with DCM is related to grain-free, just like not every dog eating grain-free food is going to get DCM. We saw the rise. And so it, there was a trend. There was a trend. I still actually remember one of the dogs I put down that came in on an emergency basis, and the dog had been on grain free for quite a while. Do I know for sure? No, but is my gut telling me that probably was? Yeah, it was. And so when they started investigating, because we started seeing this rise in cases, like cardiologists were slam pack, veterinary cardiologists, taking weeks and weeks and potentially months to see one. I started to wonder. And what got implicated for a little while was that these grain-free diets had a lot of legumes, peas, beans in place of the grains, and that there was thought that those ingredients would block the absorption of taurine. Dogs need taurine for their heart and cats too. We're mainly talking about dogs. And so they have to get it. These ingredients were affecting the absorption of taurine. And so that amino acid is really, really important for heart health. And so dogs can make it on their own, unlike cats, but the diets can influence the levels, the ingredients can influence all that. And so we are seeing that. And so I'm not saying that these ingredients are poison. I'm saying that there is a formulation gap. There's an information gap on, hey, what's the end result here on taking this out and putting this in? Marketing was making that decision. It wasn't necessarily health-based. And if it was health-based, it didn't take the panoramic view for it. The FDA did a whole bunch of research on it, calling out brands, mainly because brands were being, reported. And it's kind of been paused, but the concern is still there. And it needs to be explored by science. It really does. So grain-free was never about what your dogs needed. I'm going to say that. It was never about what your dogs needed. It was about what the humans wanted to buy. It was what the humans were being marketed to. Truly. Labels swapped for exotic proteins, kangaroo, bison, rabbit, whatever else is exotic, and replaced grains with the peas and the potatoes because it just seemed more natural. And pet parents like you probably thought you were buying cleaner because of the marketing, how it was being marketed, what was said on the front of the bag, and higher protein food and grain-free, especially because it was piggybacking off of the human side. When it was just flashier packaging, it was just flashier words. And so, were they selling you nutrition? I guess in a roundabout way they were. I think they were actually selling you a feeling. They were selling you a fad. They were selling you a trend, because they made you feel like you would be a better pet parent, a better dog parent if you skipped the grains. But when you take a closer look and you look at the macros and the ingredients of those foods, those foods are being filled with cheap fillers, lentils, beans, peas, those are cheaper. And that's why it was being done. And so there are different types of carbs. We know this for us, right? Vegetables, those are carbs. That's very different than rice, which is a starchy carb. And so there are complex carbs, which are grains. There are simple starchy ones, which are legumes, chickpeas, peas, lentils, potatoes. And they can be fine in moderation, but in overconsumption, that's kind of a concern. And so there's nothing magical about rice or oats or corn or barley or potatoes. And some of those things aren't inherently evil. It's just about balance, about proportion. It's about how much is in there. It's about what else is in there. It's about, again, a panoramic view. One thing I do want you to know is that grain-free, because it's, again, those two words, grain-free, a lot of those diets are so carb rich. They're what we are replacing to put in there. And I'm not saying that the diets with those carbs or grains are not carb rich. but it's a swap and it is being swapped to be so carb heavy. And here's the thing. Newsflash, spoiler alert, jump scare. Your dog doesn't actually need carbohydrates. They can digest them. They don't need them. And so your dog needs protein and your dog needs fat. Your dog doesn't need carbohydrates. What are these grain-free diets? Yes, and grain inclusive, carbs. Carbs aren't bad. Your dog doesn't just need them. And it's when you look at the amount, that's where I want people to be informed. It's the amount of the carbs in your dog's food, which I think could be leading to obesity, cancer, arthritis, inflammation. That's a video and a podcast for another time. Let's think about more so like what does your dog need in their food and how can we make that as good as possible rather than following a trend. And this label of grain free really removes us from that. It's very divisive sometimes. There's a lot of camps out there, like we're picking sides on a football, like the Super Bowl on grain free versus not grain free. And it's like, how about we're just on team ingredients. We're on team dog health. So yes, a lot of dogs will do fine on grains. I'm more concerned about the proportion. I look at ingredients and I look at proportions of that. Like if this dog's diet a percentage of it is like close to 50% or over 30% carbs, oof, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't want you guys chasing the label grain free or ancestral or even maybe grain inclusive. Like let's just like look at the diet. Let's not look at the words on the front of that because all the words on the front of your dog's bag or canned food, they all have a purpose. Like the words with, dinner, there's not just filler words. It's like a lingo. And right now, actually, is a good time to invite you to purchase a product that I created myself called The Truth About Dog Food. I'm going to have a link under here for you about it. If you're listening to this right now, today is Wednesday, May 7th. It is on sale and it is on sale until Tuesday, May 12th. Tuesday, May 12th, it goes up in price. If you hear this afterwards, I am so sorry. I hope to have another sale at some point, but I just want you to know like all this information I put in there. It's a resource for you. It's like me walking you through it. It's video formatted. It is once you get access, you have access because I know life is busy. Hey, I've been wanting to record these YouTube videos and these podcasts for a while. I know that life gets busy. So you have lifetime access. They're video form. I'm walking you through it. Listen to it while you're walking to your dog. And so I want you to be more focused on quality of ingredients, types of ingredients, name proteins, quality fats, digestibility, all that I go over in the Truth About Dog Food. And if you want to take it a step further, I do offer one-on-one nutrition consultations. If you're like, yes, that's great, but hold my hand and talk to me about my dog, we can do that as well. I'll drop the link below. So the real scam here isn't grains or grain-free necessarily. It's buzzword in your dog's diet. That's the fault here. The minute we start feeding on feelings or fads, that's when those marketing teams win and our dogs potentially don't. So if you want help decoding your dog's food, what is best for them? Because every dog is different. No two dogs are the same, which is really cool. Schedule your consultation. Get the truth about dog food. I look forward to seeing you on the next topic, and we're just going to get started. What you can expect here is no fluff, the truth, pulling back the curtain, and discussing things that are really important for you as the dog owner.